What up, dude bros? I'm Frank. This is another Top 5 episode. In this episode, we're covering the top 5 Nerf attachments. Perhaps in a future episode, I'll break down the topic further, but for now, I'm covering barrels, stocks, various optics, and other attachments and stuff like that. So attachments. Anything you can attach to the Nerf blaster, made by Nerf. What do we look for in a top-level attachment? Well, obviously it has to be tacti-cool, and a little bit practical, or at least so tactical that it cancels out any lack of or anti-practicalness. Or it could just function really well, and that's a legitimate reason too, but mostly tactics. And of course, because of this, it's a pretty subjective top 5 list. So here's my top 5 Nerf attachments, starting with number 5, the Nerf Spectre barrel attachment, or the suppressor. Kind of. This one happens to be yellow, but they also have a blue Spectre, so it will match more of the blasters. Unfortunately, I haven't seen one of these in white with the modulus white theme. So when you put it on something like an orange strife, it looks a little silly, but at least it's super quiet now. Or at least it looks like it would be super quiet, and that's the point, to be like an operator. That's number 5, the Spectre barrel, or the suppressor. Number 4, the modulus grip blaster. Oh yeah. This, of course, is a Jolt reskin, like all the Nerf blasters, right? That has an in-strike rail attachment point up here. Not the in-strike rail, but the attachment mech to fit onto an in-strike rail. So when you prime by pulling down, you have 2 barrels ready to fire 2 elite darts. It's a great, lightweight, functional emergency shot, and it's also a foregrip if you don't need to shoot it yet. Strife is not ideal for this, because the magazine gets in the way. Makes more sense now, so you can walk through corners, and it's a nice, comfortable vertical grip, and then you can also shoot. So that is number 4. Number 3 on the list is the Stockade stock. This stock was included with the Stockade back in the day. It's my favorite stock because it's rigid, so it doesn't have any flex, or, well, it does have flex, but not like collapsibility and junk, like some other stocks. That's kind of annoying if you're using an upgraded spring blaster, since when you prime it off your shoulder, it can suddenly collapse. But this one does not, because it's rigid and nice. Sure, the Retaliator stock is also rigid, but it's not quite as long, so this one's a bit more fitting as a stock. This is just too small for anybody ever. You know, because a stock is vital when you're absorbing heavy recoil. Just kidding, but it is helpful when you're trying to aim quickly. That is number 3, the Stockade stock. Now on to number 2, the modulus red dot sight. This sight made the list because it's a relatively low profile sight that has the nice balance of practical and tactical. I've made the argument before, but I'd like to state it's my opinion that Nerf optics don't really help you aim any better. You can generally look down the barrel and achieve the same level of accuracy. And that, of course, is due to the slight inconsistency in the dart trajectory. It's not accurate enough to warrant a pinpoint sight. So honestly, I use these on my blasters, but I don't even put the batteries in, so obviously I can't turn it on. But I don't care. It looks cool, and you might say, well, the long shot scope looks cool too. I disagree. I think it looks kind of silly, but this is really large and kind of bulky. So that takes away from the practical, because you don't want a bunch of unnecessary crap. So super tactical, not as impractical. If impractical, that might be tainting the word, but whatever. And that's what it's all about. A nice balance of tactical and practical. So that is number 2 on my list, the modulus red dot sight. Which gets me to number 1, numero uno, on the top 5 list. What is it going to be? Enter your guess now. I need one of those VHS screens. Stop the tape now so your instructor can continue the lesson IRL. Well, they didn't say IRL. Said some type of 90s, whatever. Number 1, the Rebel laser sight. No, I'm just kidding. That's certainly not it. Number 1, the modulus barrel extension. And to be more accurate, the modulus infinitely expandable barrel extension. Why is this number 1? Because of the customization and the possibilities, just infinite possibilities. You can do whatever you want. You can attach whatever you want to your blaster because of this thing. Why is it so magical compared to something cool like this barrel? This is the long-range barrel extension, which looks cool, sure, but it's not infinitely expandable, so it's limited. This just has the female attachment point right here, meaning it can attach on, and now you're done. That's the end piece. You can't attach more barrels to it. But if you have this barrel, you can put it on, and then you still have the in-strike nozzle, so you can put on another, and a few more. And then your long-range barrel as an end cap. Or this, with like these 3 times infinity. What's to stop you, other than manufacturing and gravity and stop asking stupid questions. And not only does it expand, it has 2 rails, one on the top and one on the bottom. In the future, I'd love it if they'd include a quad rail, like this exact barrel, but with 2 more rails added, one on each side. So then you could have just rails upon tactics of everything, and it just... That gets me all excited inside just thinking about it. I need that. Hasbro, could you please? Design and manufacturing time periods. You could get it in before Christmas and send it to me as a Christmas gift. That'd be awesome. I realize it's an odd number 1 because by itself, it's not that awesome. It's just a little barrel. If you don't have other attachments to add, honestly, I think the suppressor looks cooler. That's just me. But what would be better? Attachments and other attachments. This is my top 5 all in one strife. Oh yeah. Although the colors just don't match, I don't like it. But out of all of them, these are my top 5. Now to some honorable mentions, or should I say tacti-cool honorable mentions in no particular order. Modulus sniper scope, because it looks freaking sweet, and if you're in the sniper class, I think the long shot thing, it just doesn't look quite as cool. This one looks awesome. If I don't have my red dot on, this is clearly like a CQB loadout, I would use the scope. Kind of one or the other, but I like the red dot more. And snipers are noob camper scrubs, so I don't use that class very often. Next, related, the long-range barrel. I think it looks pretty cool. It adds a little bit of flair to most blasters. And also related, the bipod. In the Modulus, this is actually sold as one kit, and I kind of like all of the attachments. Next, the Modulus bayonet attachment. I love the design. Even if you don't want the attachment, I think it's a nice looking knife, and it's primarily foam other than this small plastic bit which your hand should be covered, so it's a relatively safe toy to hit somebody with. That being said, anything at the right speed can cause damage. It's physics. Still, on my list. Looks pretty cool, and as a bayonet, just intimidation. Intimidation factor! Next honorable mention, and I know I have more than 5 of these, but the list to compile it into 5 was kind of tricky because a lot of these loadouts, like the sniper loadout with the scope, it's not better or worse than the red dot, it's just like completely different. I would say it's parallel to, not better or worse. And the next item, even though I just bashed it, is the storage stock right here. If you're using an upgraded spring blaster, I wouldn't recommend it because of that, but if you're using a flywheel blaster, you can use it because you're not really applying that much pressure to it, and it's white and orange, and it kind of matches the Modulus blasters a little bit better than the stockade stock, which is blue. So if you like ice cream and you're feeling like a creamsicle, you could assemble one. Get it? White and orange. And you can store tactical Twinkies back there. I'm thinking about food now. Twinkies, creamsicles. Next honorable mention, this tri-strike front attachment with the 4 mega barrels right here. I like that it's pretty much like an integration concept where you can gain the pros of using mega darts, and then for a round that doesn't really benefit from using them, you can take it off and switch to a different attachment or just go lightweight, no attachment. But I think it looks weird, and if you don't put it on the right blaster, the proportions are goofy and just meh. One last honorable mention that almost made my top 5 list, the barrel strike. This, just like the tri-strike attachment, goes onto your front barrel, but it has 4 elite barrels up here. Unlike the tri-strike attachment, it uses a spring that you prime like that. These two compared, I like the barrel strike better because it also doubles as a vertical grip, and it's not just a hunk of plastic up there. You can hold on to it, and it's more comfortable. And just in case your blaster jams, which if you're using a flywheel blaster, obviously it wouldn't, flywheel master race, you can take it off and then use it as an independent blaster. Is that really worth it? Probably not, but it's cool that you can do it and have this mini little blaster thing. Because tactics, Transformers, robots in disguise. And that concludes my honorable mention list, and I already covered my top 5 list, which means my top 5 attachments video is over. Do you disagree on my top 5 list? Leave a comment in the section below to let me know what your top 5 attachments are. And I'd like to reiterate, this top 5 list in particular is so subjective. It's all about my opinion. These attachments don't really add too much to your blaster performance, so it really is what you want attached to your blaster. So it's all personal taste and how you want to customize your blaster. And the best part is, if you disagree, attach different stuff to your blaster. That's what's so cool about the Modulus line. They're just pumping out all these awesome attachments. So if you think, what attachment would be awesome, they probably already have it. I mean, they're running out of ideas if they have to do stuff like this, which is just goofy. I'm so glad they did, because that's cool, but how unusual. All the traditional stuff, the lights, the red dots, the normal stocks, the normal barrels, it's already been done, which is awesome. All the possibilities. And with the Modulus barrel, you can put all this rail space on there. Oh yeah. So get out there and customize your blaster and let me know what your top 5 are in the comment section below. That's this video. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay tacti-cool.